everybody, this is Grimmy, and welcome to my first OC review. I used to watch these sorts of videos all the time when I was younger, and I always wanted to make my own, just for fun. We've got 10 OCs to go through today, all of which are from their creators' original stories, not fandom characters or personas. To be clear, this is not a fix-it or critique meant to make anybody feel bad. We're just here to look at OCs and enjoy other people's creativity. All of these OCs were submitted to me via a form I linked in my Discord, so if you want to be a part of that in the future, the invite link is in the description. Everybody in this video who has given me socials will be linked in the description as well. This is how we're doing this today. I'll give you my first impression of the design, we'll go through the information I've been given about the character's story, powers and personality, and then what my overall thoughts are about it. This is going to be a live reaction, so other than the intro and the outro, very little is actually going to be scripted. Think of it as a lecturer or teacher giving you feedback in person, one-on-one. With all that said, let's get into it. Alright, so first up we have Leo, or the greatest of all time Leo, as is apparently how we're going to be calling Leo today. No, Leo. So the OC is called Phelan, and they are a sub-character. Very important, but not quite the main character. Alright, so have a look at that design. Oh, look at them! Oh, they're cute! Ooh, I like the color palette. Okay, so there's a lot going on. There's wings on the shoes. They got chains. Ah, so they have like lion features, fairy wings. Cute. I'm trying to understand the coat. Oh, I see. Okay. I see. One thing about the design's super cute. I love the colors. I love the design. I love the outfit. The outfit is very slay, very fashionista. I love it. I'm confused about the gloves on the hand. So one hand has a glove, I think, and the other doesn't, unless I'm blind and I'm misunderstanding something. I like the design a lot. They're really cute. They're really pretty, and they have a lot of accessories that are really nice to look at. And even though you've got lots of like variety for like, you know, you've got like the different accessories on the legs, you've got the chains on sort of like the midsection, you've got the collar, you've got sort of like the crosses coming off the sleeve, and on the boots and everything. It's all very works together well because there isn't anything that's like random in a sense. Like everything's tied together nicely, and there's repetition with the colors and the cross and the chains and everything, so it's actually all works together really well. And they're just really cute. I love the eyebrows. The eyebrows have a very cute shape, and they look very cute. I like it a lot. Very staring into my soul. I love it. So this is the information we've got. He's a fairy but also lion hybrid, I suppose. He's immortal, but his immortality works like a jellyfish. Like, he can die, but not by aging. He can't lie, like physically cannot do it. He's nice, but also sassy. He's quite stubborn too. He's in a relationship with a pirate boy named Edward. His childhood friend of my persona, Eleanor, but they haven't seen each other in centuries. He's unemployed technically, but also he's a manager of them both. Oh, he's unemployed technically, but also he's a manager of them both. As you know, his boyfriend is the captain, but we all know he's in charge. Okay. All right, so I'm assuming he's probably on a ship a lot. I can't tell what sort of like era this is, because like he's Phelan's got very sort of modern clothes on. So I'm assuming that his pirate boyfriend is also sort of modern-y, but I would assume he's on a ship a lot. So that'd be interesting to sort of... Does he have like a different... I'd be interested to see if he has a different outfit for when he's on the ship and doing like ship work, if he does it all. But he's the manager, and his boyfriend is a captain, but we all know who's in charge. Edward is just there to exist and look pretty, I guess. Okay, that's cute. You say he physically cannot lie. That's interesting. Is there like a curse? I want to know like why that is. Are there any unique rules, species, power systems in your story I need to know about to understand your OC? The way his immortality works is like he aged, but when he is like past 45, he reverses himself into a small pixie-like version of himself and goes into flower petals and will stay for 1 to 7 days. It's RNG. Cool. I like that. That's cool. That's a really interesting sort of like immortality system. Okay. So it's a bit like with, well, it's a bit like with phoenixes, where it's like after a certain point they sort of self-destruct and like recreate themselves and like rise from the ashes. But with small pixie-like version of himself and ghost. That's cute. I like that. It'd be nice to see his pixie design. Anything else? He's my lover. So his lover is my persona's. Wait, his lover is my persona's wife's brother, but you know they also haven't seen each other in ages. I can just imagine the family tree is a mess. Everybody's connected. Nobody knows where anybody is. All right. So there's not a lot of sort of like information about sort of like his story or anything. So it'd be interesting to know like why he physically cannot lie. That's interesting. His immortality, as I like his immortality a lot, because oftentimes I think you can easily make immortal characters very overpowered, which is fine if that's what would work for your story. But it's interesting to give them like rules to their immortality. So why they can do that, how it works, what the limit is, stuff like that. So it's cool that you have like a system for that. Again, the design's really cute. So sub character, so like a side background character. Important but not quite the main character. Yes, like a secondary. Well, did it be like a secondary protagonist sort of thing? One of those characters who's not like the main one but has an important role in the story. He's nice but also sassy. He's quite stubborn too. I think that's fair. You can have characters who are friendly and fun, but you know have some flaws is good. It'd be nice to know sort of like, you know, how him and Edward got together. You know, you say he's a manager, but I'm not understanding what. So I'm assuming he manages the ship with Edward. So that it'd be nice to know sort of like, it'd be fun to know what they do together. Like I'm imagining they sail the seas. But like, what do they do? Do they do piratey things, or do they go on missions? Are they looking for anything? So it'd be nice to know sort of like more information about what it is exactly Phelan does. But with the information I've got on his design, I think he's really cute and he's really interesting. I'd like to I can just imagine the dynamic between him and Edward. It's very funny. All right, cool. Well, thank you, Leo, for submitting your character. I think Phelan is very interesting. I like how you compared him to a jellyfish, but he's a fairy lion hybrid. So Scarlet is the main character of Rose's story. So let's have a look at the design. Oh, Scarlet! I remember drawing her for Art Fight. Slay! I love her outfit. She's so cool. I love her design. I love her hair. Her hair, it's so good. It's so pretty. She's so pretty. I love it. She's just sitting there with an apple. It's great. I love her expressions. And like, your style's also really nice. It's like a nice movement going on with the hair and her pose and her expressions. It's really nice to look at. Alright, so Scarlet is the main protagonist of the story. The Pecularium Scarlet was born with a curse due to unstable magic from a marriage between a human woman and a man created by a divine named Anansi, a word to describe powerful supernatural creatures created by the beliefs of entire communities like the Olympians and Norse gods. Okay. The curse caused people's magical abilities to go haywire before she absorbed or cloned it. The curse could eventually turn her into a monster if she didn't learn to control or remove it. Scarlet's primary narrative at the beginning of Season 1 is her attempts to figure out how to break the curse and control her powers so that she can use her full potential. Once she makes a deal with Juliet, she ends up working at the shop that can help with her powers and gain her a mentor of Juliet and a potential girlfriend in Minerva. She can be a bit of a smart aleck? I'm assuming that's smart ass. She can be a bit of a smart aleck and very short-tempered when it comes to people that annoyed her. But if you are her friend or family, she's very loyal to the end, and she's very protective of her younger companions, especially Toby. Any special rules we need to know about? Magic is something that only appears in magical families of those blessed by divines. And she likes knives and she is Haitian American. Cool. All right. That's really interesting. So it seems you have a whole god system in your story, which is really interesting. I like that you already have sort of an idea for her development that you want to do with her. Obviously, we don't know much about the world, but I'm assuming if you're saying that she can use her full potential, it means that she actually wants to use her powers for something. So it'd be fun to know what her goal is at the end of that. So why she would want, why instead of just getting rid of the curse, why she wouldn't want to, wait, so how to break the curse and control her power so that she can use her full potential. So from what I'm understanding is, so I can't tell if Scarlet is from a magical family, but it seems that she is, but she has powers because she is a hybrid of sorts. So she's not either blessed by a divine or part of a magical family. So the curse makes her eventually turn into a monster, and it seems like she can't use her full potential because of that. I'm a bit confused as to where Scarlet stands in terms of the magic is something that only appears in magical families or is blessed by divines. Obviously, I only have a paragraph, so I'm sure you could easily go into more depth about it. Peculiarium. I'm seeing peculiar and an ium, so I don't know if it's meant to be peculiar. I can't say the word. Peculiarium is all you're getting from me. So I'm assuming that's a species rather than or it's either a species or a title. I think it's really interesting. I'd like to, just from what I've got here, I think I would want to the sort of system of the world to be explained a bit more to fully understand where Scarlet stands in all of this, because I can't tell if she. Because it doesn't sound like she was blessed by a divine. It sounds like she was kind of sounds like she was very much cursed, because her father was a man created by a divine named Anansi. So it's not even Anansi, it's a man created by Anansi. So I want to know how all of that works. Then you have the other characters, obviously. So she gets a mentor later on and a potential girlfriend, very cute. And then she's protective of her younger companions. That's also very sweet. She gives me sort of like big sister who didn't want any siblings, but is now like, I would kill for these little guys, but they don't get to know that. Vibes. So like, I'll sell you for a corn chip, but nobody else gets to mess with you but me, sort of vibes. That's very cool. I love her design a lot. She's really awesome, and her whole story sounds very intriguing and very interesting. I wonder how many seasons you have, because you said season 1, and then obviously you have she ends up working at the shop that can help with her powers. So it sounds like break the curse, be able to sort of use her powers, and then season 2 sounds like it would be learning how to control and sort of grow her powers and use her powers correctly. And then sort of develop her relationships with the people around her, which sounds like a very interesting sort of like slice of life but action-packed story. She likes knives. That's the only thing that's the only thing she has in life, knives. I'd be interested to know how she feels towards her parents, because you haven't mentioned that, nor her upbringing and how that sort of affected her growing up. You haven't given her parents any names, so it sounds like maybe they're unknown. Obviously, I only have a paragraph to go off, and I'm sure you have more going on in your story. No, her story sounds really interesting. I do like it. I think there's definitely a lot you can do with that. But maybe for the dum-dums like me who have no understanding of how your world system works, obviously, because you have it all, but I unfortunately cannot mind read, and I have no idea what's going on. It'd be nice to sort of know how the whole system works, the different characters, the difference between the magical families and those blessed by the divines. Is there a difference between magical families and those blessed by the divines? Like, obviously, yes, there is a difference, but I mean, like, do they get different types of powers? So, like, do magical families have sort of inherited the same type of powers, or do the blessed are the ones who are blessed more powerful than others? Like, there's lots of questions like that. Like, your paragraph here gives me a lot of questions I'd like to know about, and I would just need to know a little bit more to really understand Scarlet's sort of role in everything in the world. Because I get that she's the main character, which obviously means that, you know, the whole story revolves around her. And it sounds like because she was born with a curse because she has unstable magic from her mother being a human and her father being someone created by a divine. It sounds like she's kind of unique compared to magical families or those blessed by divines, because that does not sound like she was blessed here. Unless her mother was from a magical family. But like there's a lot of like little details like that maybe for someone like me who doesn't know what's going on, it'd be good to know. It'd be interesting to know how like her upbringing affected her, because it seems like here she wants to be able to use her powers instead of just having no powers whatsoever and just living a normal life. It'd be interesting to know why she wants to control her powers at all to then be able to use them for things. It'd be nice to know what her goal is. Wait, the curse caused people's magic abilities to go haywire before she absorbed or cloned it. So does that mean that she has like lots of different types of powers potentially? I want to know what that means, because again, I'm dumb and I cannot mind read and I don't know what's going on. But there's a lot here, and it seems like you've got a whole world with a very interesting sort of magic and like god system, which would be fun to look into. But no, that's really cool, especially for main character. Her designs really stands out. I love her hair, absolutely love her hair. And she looks like a fun character that'd be fun to follow the story of. So Rose, thank you very much for submitting Scarlet. I remember her from Art Fight. She's really cool. All right, next up we have Obsidian, the bane of Grimmy's existence. That's not far off. All right, so the OC is called Patch, and they are a supporting character-ish. All right, so let's have a look at it. Ooh, okay. First impressions, I'm getting like a zombie sort of vibe, sort of zombie creature, or something of a sort. I don't. The red nose is throwing me off. It's giving zombie clown vibes, but it could also not be that. I like the color palette a lot. I think it's very cute. I can't. Those seem to be like tears of some sort, some sort of gunk. I don't think they're pupils, but I could be completely wrong. But no, I like the design. It looks nice together with the color palettes and the outfit. So this story isn't written yet, but this is the character the protagonist discovers. He cannot speak or make a sound, as his voice is sealed inside the little jar he carries everywhere. However, if one were to take the lid off the jar, all that would come out is screaming. Oh, that's really reassuring. The character is very much meant to represent a scared child with a smaller figure and the striped shirt. Okay, I see. So the story follows a young boy named Benjamin who is taken to a lone circus. At first, things seem normal-ish, with a few things out of place. He meets various characters of strange and distorted appearances. They range from clowns to puppets or mimes, etc. It's all meant to be weird cool. As time goes on, Benjamin realizes there are many things wrong with the world, such as the ringmaster never showing his eyes, or that the audience has been forced to perform for are actually just cardboard cutouts. Alright. And soon he begins to notice his appearance changing as he becomes one of them. Patch is one of the characters he meets but doesn't get to interact with as much. He's emotional and that he gets overwhelmed easily. It's implied that when he first arrived he wouldn't stop screaming, so they seal his voice away. It's meant to be a bit symbolic. Alright. So this character seems to be sort of less of a supporting back character, but more of a background character, which is fine. And not every character needs a lot of detail, but as it is, I don't really have much to work off of. Like the designs looks really sweet, and very sort of scared child, as you put it. But there's not much about Patch himself, so I don't know. You know, obviously it seems to be a bit of like a cursed circus sort of vibe, but I don't know. You know. Is he meant to help Benjamin? Is he just there? Does he have any likes or dislikes? You know, it's like, what is it that he does at the circus? Is he someone who performs, or does he do cleaning? Like, what does he do? What is the world? What is his role in the world other than just he's there? I have much to work off from here. But I do like what you've got going so far with sort of like him supposed to be like a scared child, and the jar idea is really cool. The fact that if you open the jar and it's just screaming that comes out is actually terrifying. I hope that you work on developing the story more and the character and the world. Just maybe give them a bit more content. The thing is, right, with making characters, you don't have you can add like a history and likes and dislikes and a personality and detail. You don't have to include it in the story. It's more just so that you know who the character is and what they're about. You don't have to make everything about in their sort of like in their reference or in their character description relevant or even include it in the story, as long as you have it for yourself as a reference so you know who the character is. As it is, Patch seems to just be a sort of like a very sort of concept background character, and there isn't much going on. However, you did mention that this is a work in progress, so there's like still plenty for you to sort of play around with and sort of develop. The story in itself seems really interesting, but I would just with each character, what is their goal there? Are they actually don't mind being in the circus, or like Patch, are they maybe wishing to get out but they've sort of lost hope, so Benjamin is like a new hope that they can maybe get out, you know, things like that to sort of like add a bit more meat to your character, if that makes sense. But otherwise, I really like the concept so far. It seems very interesting with full potential. Thank you, Obsidian, for submitting a character. Next, we have Asa, or Dark Silver Shadows' character. The character is called Maple Night Strider, and they are the main character. All right, let's have a look at them. Ooh, dragon! 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 Wings! Yes! Ooh, teeth coated in metal! I like you! I like you a lot. 4 meters tall. How tall is that? They're 13 feet tall! Oh my god. Lots of scars. I like the wings are lower. That's cool. Non-scale parts have fur. Ooh, okay. Blue blood. Teeth coated in metal. Tail. She, they. Ooh. Ooh. I'm liking the design. Very nice. A lot of detail going on. That's an interesting belt buckle. Does the belt buckle mean something? Maybe not. Alright, okay, so this is the main character, understood. I like it a lot, there's a lot going on. The colors of the clothing might be a bit too saturated and they clash with the design, with Maple's sort of base gray color palette. So maybe desaturating those a little bit will make it easy to look at. But otherwise, everything there is really interesting. I like what you're going on. And having bright colors for the clothes versus the sort of the dark gray of Maple's general design helps sort of make her stand out, which is, so this is very cool and very nice colors. I like it a lot. There's a link for this one. Let's see if I can even open it. Colonel? I don't know how to say that in English. Colonel Maple Night Strider is one of the most well-known and respected members of the Tavasian wing of the Milesian aerial units, known mostly for her skills in strategy and fighting. Alright, okay, interesting. So, ooh, we have a natural like character sheet. So, full name is Colonel Maple Sharila Night Strider, nickname Astalius. She, they, 20. Alright, so already a colonel at 20 years old, interesting. First day of Frost Moon, 1st of January. Species Hybridian, half Tavasian, a species of long-limbed humanoids with black skin and darker markings. Half Skyan Dragon, a type of dragon. Alright, demigirl, asexual romantic, colonel, around 4 meters. Pretty heavy, 4 meters worth of mostly muscle, ain't gonna be light. That is very true. So powers, level 9 summoner, can summon all creatures classed as voidlings. Alright. Astrological sign, blah, blah, blah. Languages, English, German, Tavasian, fluent, blah, blah, blah. Alright. Birthplace, Temple of Agrothia. Alright, so there's a whole world going on here. Alright. Hair color, charcoal black. Skin color, matte black with darker markings. Alignment, neutral good. Piercing. Silver nose piercing attached to 2 ear piercings by thin chain. Silver lip piercing. Several silver hoop earrings. Silver earring with amethyst adornment. Several battle scars along chest, back, and arms. Maple is incredibly guarded, not letting many people close. She has fiery temper, quick wit, and is sharp and snappy with people. She is rather intelligent and is a vehement strategist, sometimes coming off as cold and dismissive. Hobbies, painting, hunting, strength, strategizing, fighting, hunting, weaknesses, communication, trust, likes flying, hunting, being alone, cats and felines, painting, dislikes being around people, tight spaces, bureaucracy, mood, superiors, Goals: being her own person and never looking back. Relationship status single. Education up to high school. Military training. All right. Any trivia? Would this character win in a fight against 35-year-olds? Yes, absolutely. What are these questions? All right. And then there's a bunch of like, is your character more of a follower or leader? She says she's a follower, doesn't like her position of power, yada yada, but will steamroll people if things aren't done her way. Has your character ever painted with nails? No, it gums the serrations of her talons, as she likes her talons to meet peak definition. Interesting. Okay, this like looks cool as well, unveiled. Interesting. From a scale of 1 to 10, how scared would your character be in a haunted house? 1 or 2, unless it plays on one of the specific fears, getting trapped or hunted. She sees them as laughable. Does your character put stock into the horoscope? No, not in the slightest. Outside of predicting with magic class, you might be. Horoscopes are practically useless to her. What kind of weather does your character prefer? She loves rain. It's the only time she feels really at peace, and she often sits out in the middle of nowhere while it rains. Okay, cool. So there's like a lot. So I guess this site Unveil seems pretty interesting because they actually give you questions you can answer to like talk about your characters. That's actually quite cool. Okay, cool. So you've got a lot going on here. There seems to be like a whole world, which is very cool. Ran away from her home after murdering her abusive father in her late teens and joins the military of a different nation, quickly ascending to ranks of colonel by the time she was 20. She does not like her position, finding bureaucracy a massive waste of time, and will often try to avoid as much as possible. She has few friends outside of her superior, Admiral Jawlawn, and her clerk, Kay. Alright. Are there any unique rural species, blah, blah, blah? I need to understand your story. Hybrid, half dragon, half Tunisian species, Tavasian species. Dragon half are powerful area predators with high intelligence, good climbing abilities, and powerful flyers. Tavasians are evolved humans that live in the same environment. Powerful mage, able to summon creatures called voidlings to her aid, primarily in battle, but of uses too, as well as store and summon weapons in and form a sort of interdimensional storage space. Ooh. She's primarily a hands-on fighter, preferring her teeth and claws over weaponry. Her scales are impervious to most kinds of damage, and she produces an oil instead of sweat that is fire-resistant. The parts of her without scales are covered in thick, wiry fur. Okay, cool. Really interesting. So her goal is being her own person and never looking back. Is there like a war going on currently that she needs to be in the army? Like, how come she chose that over anything else as an option is what I'm curious about. Also, her outfit's cool, but it's not giving colonel. It's not giving sort of army higher up sort of vibes. It's giving casual, which maybe that's the point of her reference sheet, and they have a different outfit for when they're like doing army stuff, which would be fun to see. I'm interested about all this, this entire world that's going on. I'm assuming this is your original world and not like set in an existing one, or maybe it is, I don't know. But it'd be really interesting to sort of see more of. I'm mainly interested in why she chose the military if she doesn't like being in that sort of position of power. I'm assuming it's like she had no other way to go. Because if she killed her sole family member, as far as I'm aware, as I'm assuming that's just she had no other options. If she ran away, but and if she killed someone, would that technically make her a criminal in this world, or is sort of like murder fine? Is murder okay in this world? I'm getting a good understanding of who she is based on the details. So it shows that obviously you thought a lot about her character and such. You mentioned she's the main character, but other than her main goal and a bit of her backstory, there's not much. There's nothing about like what she's going to do. Like, yes, you said that her goal is to be her own person, but why is that not possible? Doing that in the why is the military stopping her from doing that? And if that's the case, why did she pick the military, and why can't she leave? It feels like there's an ongoing war in this world that I'm not privy to, and that maybe it sounds like she maybe end up being some sort of freedom fighter sort of character, especially if she's the leader, the main character rather. But other than her outfit not looking very sort of military-y, She's really cool. It's an interesting character. I would want to know more about her story itself and what she's going to do, because at the moment it's sort of very surface level details, more about her species and her powers, which are cool. Very cool. I want to know what voidlings look like. They sound like they're just like little sort of like shadow creatures at the moment. The interdimensional storage space is a really cool idea. That's always useful to have. What is it called in the comics thing? I completely forgot, but it's like, you know, the sort of like endless storage, which is always good to have. You mentioned that she prefers to fight with teeth and claws over weaponry, but she is able to store and summon weapons. So it'd be interesting to see what sort of weapons she does end up fighting with if she chooses to. If she prefers teeth and claws, I'd assume that something like a cool knuckle duster or something would be the sort of weapon she goes for. Or if it's maybe something more long range, like a huge like scabbard or something, I don't know. But it'd be interesting to see more of, especially if she's the main character, to see more of her motivations to wanting to be her own person, and, you know, the sort of like the nitty gritty details of, you know, the world around her and what's currently going on. Because she just joined the military, but we don't know why the military or what's stopping her from quitting and what's going on in the deeper world for there to need such. Also, her being a colonel, I can't say the word, colonel at 20 is very, very young. Because typically the age of a colonel is 49, so in the 40s. Is 49, so that means that she would be like half the age of other sort of authorities, unless that's just because there aren't enough. So it'd be interesting to know if it's because of the skills and her smarts that she's just better. Then it would be interesting to see if that's because of her upbringing from her abusive father, if he maybe was military and it's just ingrained in her, and she sees too much of her father in herself. That's why she wants to leave the military. Maybe something like that could be interesting. What was about him that was abusive would also be interesting to see, because then it would make certain. It would be. Is it physical? Is it mental? Is it, you know, what is it about it? Is it because of her? Because she's a hybrid. You know, which side of the family is he from? Because that would also be interesting to know. So maybe she would. And if that makes her resent that species that her father is from compared to maybe her mother's. Also, what happened to her mother? Where is she? There's a lot of questions that I do not have answers to, which obviously when you're writing a story and she's the main character, you obviously don't want to answer everything, but giving a bit of like, not to use my own characters as an example, but for example, with my Has Been Hotel, Suzette, it's the mention that the father died at some point, and that they don't know where he is in the afterlife. They don't know if he's in hell, they don't know if he's in heaven, but as the story goes on, it figures out that because he's nowhere to be seen in heaven, it's assumed that he's probably in hell, but nobody knows where he is in hell if that is the case. So there's the assumption that maybe he was killed by in the extermination and stuff like that, which, spoilers, is not the case. But so I think it's good to make mention of if she knows where her mother is or not, and sort of like, you don't have to answer every single question to that the reader would know, but the character wouldn't know. So in her background, you can be like, you know, she killed her abusive father because reasons. She doesn't know where her mother is. Or even it could be like, she knew that her mother was in the military, so that's why she decided to join the military. If you could have a little bit more reasons as to what her motivations are to do the certain things she does and why her goals are the way they are, that would be interesting to know, just to have a bit more detail. Because at the moment, it's sort of like, she does this, but why? She did this, but why? Is a lot of what I have. And, you know, joins the military of a different nation. Would they do a background check on her? Or is this a sort of different nation who just takes whoever is willing to join the military? Also, if she's able to become a colonel, you know, half the age that a typical colonel is that because her species ages differently? Is it because the way ranks work is different in this world? You know, if she doesn't like this position, why did she accept it? You know, stuff like that. It'd be interesting to know how much control she actually has in her life, compared or how much she, you know, sort of like, you know, when she went to this other nation, was it sort of like the thought of like, oh, London is paved with gold sort of mentality, that she thought, you know, this was going to be a better life, but then, and then she did, and then she fell for army propaganda. You know, there's a lot of questions I have because you've given us like a lot of information, but somehow no information at all about like the world itself. Like, we know a lot about her, but then we don't know about how the world works in itself and how she managed to do all of that. So it would just be really interesting to have more of sort of details like that, which I would be assuming would be answered in your story, but just based on your reference sheet, we don't have any of that, so I can't really give much thought other than like she seems like to have like a really complex and interesting story, and I just want to know more of how that works in the world that she exists in. So I feel like this is a case where actually you need to develop like at least speak a bit more about the world building that you've got going on, because there's a lot of names that seem very high fantasy, and I've no idea what's going on. I don't know. I have no idea what's going on in this world. All I know is that Maple lives in it and she's better than everyone. Is all I've got. Is all I understand at the moment. But a really cool character. I would love to know more about the world building in itself and more details about how all of that works, and the sort of nitty-gritty details that, probably because I'm a creator, I think about all these questions a lot of the time because it's really fun. But yeah, more world building would be cool to know. Maple seems really interesting, though. Just maybe rework her outfit to make it more military-y, if that's possible. Thank you so much for submitting your character. Next we have Asso. The OC is called Claws, and they are a supporting character / main character / love interest. Okay, all right. Let's have a look-sees. Ooh, very cool. I like the facial design a lot. That's awesome. I like the scars. The outfit's really nice as well. I like these sort of designs are really cool because that's like, when I'm saying simple, it's like they're not overly complicated designs with loads of details, but they're really impactful. And I feel like that's a very good sign, because again, I'm assuming with some of these characters, not everybody's going to be making visual stories with their characters, but I'm always thinking about a character's complexity and how much detail they have, because I make animatics and I make comics, obviously. So whenever I make a design, I'm like, I'm gonna have to draw this character 100 times over. So if they're super complicated, I'm gonna hate myself. So this design is very cool. I like the dark hair, and then the clothing is sort of lighter, and the sword is also very cool. It has a nice contrast and matches his eyes. The pretty eyes. His name is Claws, uses he, him pronouns, and is a dead guy who lives in a purgatory-like world called No Name. He wields a big-ass sword, which he forged himself. He is a tall lad, a big and scary, but once you speak to him, he's very gentle. He is very kind and gentle. However, he is very protective over his girlfriend, by a couple years ago. I'm assuming that means they're both bi. And he loves her dearly, fiercely loyal and clever. He has a quick wit as well. His headcanon voice is Keith David Spawn from Mortal Kombat. Slay. Absolute stellar voice claim. All beings who are not human and who are from the realms of the dead have black sclera. And he is my precious baby boy and son, and I will protect him from all harm. I think I'll protect you from all harm. Have you seen the size of him? I don't know what you've been feeding him, but he is too goddamn big. And he looks very cool, and I like his he looks very cool, and I like how he looks big and scary, but he's actually a gentle giant sort of vibe. Even though he's got a huge sword, he probably can beat me up with. And he's a dead guy who lives in purgatory, a purgatory-like world called No Name. He has a big sword that he forged himself. What is it made of? Because it's big and red, and he's in a purgatory-like world. I don't know what No Name has as materials, so it'd be interesting to know what his sword is made of. I would my And my first instinct was like, the souls of the innocent is what he wielded his sword from. Probably not, but that's when I saw the red sort of like reddish pink sword, I was like, Also, he's not human, so he said he's a dead guy, but is he not a dead human? I would assume he's like just a dead human, which obviously that in itself is like, black sclera, but if he's not just like a dead human, it'd be interesting to know what sort of creature he is then. Also, if he's dead and he's in purgatory, a purgatory-like world called No Name, why does he need a sword? Also, it's purgatory-like. I guess it doesn't necessarily mean it is an afterlife, but I would assume it's an afterlife. So I've got a bunch of questions about who he is, what he is, what's going on, what's he doing. Also, it's cute that he has a girlfriend in No Name, and the fact he's over 7 foot tall, I approve. Tall boys, I like them. I like his design. I like what's going on with him. There's not much information for me to work with to sort of give more of an opinion than that. But classic gentle giant who looks spooky, and his design is very cool. I like the scars. I like his robe. I like the markings on his arm. But yeah, no, I just don't have much. I don't have much to say because I don't have much to work with. Also, I just woke up. But thank you very much for submitting Claus. He looks very cool. Our 6th character is submitted by Keaton. Okay, so the OC was a former Sona, but Keaton's too lazy to change the name. So the character is still called Keaton, but Keaton Marolaith. I cannot pronounce that. I'm very sorry. Marolaith is an anti-heroic, borderline villainous main protagonist. Spawn. Spawn. I know your inspirations, Keaton. Alright, let's see what we've got. Oh, big boy and axe. Also mask. Cool mask. I like the mask. Spooky big boy. It's giving axe murderer vibes. Very vanilla, I like it. Alright, so for his whole life he was a victim and who couldn't defend himself, whether it has been because of his alcoholic father or the illegal experiments. I love we go from like, oh yeah, like realistic to illegal experiments very quickly that he was subjected to, but after the latter experiments were accomplished with his newfound power, he'd vowed to become a vigilante assassin type. But then after one contract that would be fatal to any normal man, he was hit with the realization that he can't die. The rage of his soul won't let go of his body. No one can wrap their mind around eternity. It drove him to becoming more ruthless and uncaring about who he kills. He sees death as a gift that he can't ever achieve. He's the deliverer of death. I just got in my head, he's like killing people, like, why do you do this? And he's like, because I can't die, so you might as well. Initially this character is a Minecraft persona that I made, but I've been moving away from that and trying to make it into its own mythology. Basically all that's important is that he's inhumanely strong with expert combat skills. However, his rage and emotion often become his downfall. Okay. This is just basic stuff. There are more deeper things that lead into some religious undertones that I've been working on, but if I went down that road, I'd be typing way too much on this. A lot of inspiration for my favorite characters are prevalent. I couldn't tell! No, it's good. Taking inspiration from things you already enjoy and then just, like, working them to, like, sort of fit your personal... not necessarily preferences, but, like, fit your story is actually a good starting point with developing characters. I find, because it's like, well, I already like this thing, just gotta rework it to fit my story better. A lot of my OCs started that way. I mean, I would have liked the deeper aspect that you mentioned. I'd be up for reading too much. I mean, better too much than nothing, because then I can actually give like an opinion, I guess, and just like help out with some maybe if there's like an inconsistency, it can be like, oh, wait, how does this connect, you know? But I do like what you've got going here. It's a very sort of tragic character. Because I'm the type of person that always questions these things, I'd want to know what it is in the experiment that made him immortal. So like, what was it that he was subjected to that triggered that to happen? Was it like just like you mentioned the rage in his soul. What is it that triggered that? Just like the unfairness of the experiments that just triggered him to be immortal with like a combination of some chemicals or something? Or did he more like, because like if it's connected to his soul, I would assume there's like a deal with the devil sort of vibe going on. So it'd be interesting to know the sort of nitty-gritty of how all of that transpired. Not because it has to be realistic, but because when you post a story, if you were to ever post a story, there would 100% be people who are like, yeah, but how does that work? And then you tell them and they're like, I don't believe it. And it's like, okay, you could believe an immortal axe murderer, but you can't believe that the rage of his soul will let him die. All right, okay. You have people like that. So if you can give like a reason to be like, actually, I have a very good reason as to why all of this works, and he can't be questioned. Does he just go around killing people, or does he like, you know, does he have a personal life? Is he like a Spawn type character, or is he more of like a, you know, let's say like a Billy Butcher type of character, you know, in like the comics, where he does have like companions and sort of a personal life, and kind of he's got personal things going on, and you know, he's like, you know, he's got a dog and things like that. Is it that sort of vibe, or is it a very much of a the only thing I do is dedicate my entire time to my duty? It's like I have a lot of questions about what sort of, because I see what you're going for with the, you know, vigilante assassin type that becomes more and more ruthless and uncaring, but I want to know if he initially does have a personal life, and then as he gets worse and worse and worse, especially with, you know, being immortal, and how like, yeah, no one can wrap their mind around eternity, especially a human. How that would affect him in the long run. Also, did he escape the illegal experiments, or did he like run away? I want to know. I want to know the order of how things happened, and like his mental state as he goes along everything. Because like we went from alcoholic father to illegal experiments. So did his father sell him to the illegal experiments to fuel his alcoholism? Or is it something that happened later in life? Where's his father in all of this? Was it his first victim? Did he die from alcohol poisoning? I just have a lot of questions about what's going on. What's our dude going through? What's happening? Also, I need to know how to pronounce his last name because I can't say it, but it looks cool. Also, I like that he's a dude who can't die and he's just got an axe. I don't know why that's funny to me. Does he have any sort of training at all? Because, you know, you can't, he's like, because he actually has newfound power, but he has to have had some sort of training, surely, to be, a vigilante assassin type. I just have a lot of questions about everything. Does he become like more mindless? Because yeah, more ruthless and uncaring about who he kills. Does he become more mindless? Does he like lose his mind? And it's less about doing a job, and it's more about becoming inhuman. I just have a lot of questions and I want to know because I love these types of characters. Keaton, give me more detail. Keaton, type the way too much. I want to know. All of you guys, you are giving me like a single paragraph to work with. I'm just like, but I want to know more. I want to know more of what's going on, and I can't do anything. Oh dear, you guys need to just all write up your stories and post them so I can read them. Is what I'm saying. But very cool character, Keaton. I like him a lot. It's right up my alley for the types of characters I love, especially because it's like a character sort of like, instead of a character sort of development, it's like a character sort of corruption, and I love that. I love those sort of stories and characters. Next up we have Peppermint's character. who is so the character is called Peppermint. It says that the role is main character supporting cast. Okay, I've drawn this character a few times, so I already know what she looks like. It's very cute, but there's a lot going on. Between the wings, the halo, the bow, the ears, the scar on the face, the red cheeks. There's a lot going on. I think it's very cute, but it would be nice to know if there's a specific reason as to why all of those things are combined into one character. So some information on Peppermint. She's over 2,000 years old. She's a seraphim. She's an archiver / storyteller. She's 5'3" without the wings. She's kind and patient. She's a kind and patient type of gal. Sometimes, though, she gets a burnout and is the complete opposite. When she is in high tension situation, she tries to make a brave face, but she put her life first than others. Always smells like peppermints. Okay, so that's a sort of she's not giving seraphim vibes. I'll be honest. She's giving regular angel vibes. I'm assuming that's just from the obviously the headshot that we have. But being an archiver is really cute. I like archiver type of characters. So she's selfless, kind and patient type of girl, and but she can get, but when she gets burnt out, she's the complete opposite. Which, like, fair enough. I think when anybody gets burnt out, they can, every sort of like patience and politeness goes out the window. Are there any unique rules? Blah, blah, blah. Peppermint is an archiver of her own story. She can create clones of herself to explore and grow her knowledge and experience in other worlds / events. When a clone dies or the world ends, the clone experiences are turned into books, allowing Pepper to store them in her archive, hence the name PMX Archives. Okay. Peppermint is not allowed to change or interfere with the stories themselves. Peppermint, besides her ability to create a clone of herself, she can also create beautiful structures such as her archives. Since her archives is open to anyone, she has had many customers who are dedicated followers to her stories. She has calculated about 200 so far. The number slowly rises every month. Anyway, Pepper believes as long as she lives, she was created to ensure the stories are forever saved. Okay, interesting. Anything else I should know that hasn't been covered? Her past is still a work in progress, fair enough, but I provide a short description. Peppermint was originally a human. She was cursed with candy arms as a child. Okay. A god took pity and granted her immortality. At the beginning, it was a blessing, not realizing it was a trick from a god who forces their god's-like powers on her and forces her to take responsibility for them. Now Peppermint stands where she is now. Remember VIP. Okay. Why is she an archivist? Why is she doing all of that? Again, it is a work in progress. I'm not going to be too hard about it. But, there's a lot of like, oh, she does this because... But it's like, okay, but why does she do this? Why can't she create clones of herself? What does having candy arms connect with anything? Like, there's a lot of stuff that just is for the sake of it, but there's no real explanation or reasoning as to why that is. So she was a human that got turned into a seraphim. Again, work in progress, so we're not gonna be harsh, but based on what you've given, it's like she's a human that got cursed with candy arms, which is like, why, how, what happened, why candy arms? She got powers forced upon her in the pretense of pity from a godlike creature. So what sort of god are we talking about? Is it a monotheistic god? Is it like a Christianity sort of god? Because seraphim is a Christian creature. Or is it a sort of like a self-made, is it like an original character type of god? Like what is the god, what is the hierarchy here, and who is this god character, and what is happening? Why can she create clones of herself? How is that relevant to her candy arms? Why does she need to explore different universes and experience them? Is there a point to them? Like, okay, she believes as long as she lives, she was created to ensure these stories are forever saved. Sure, but why? Like, what is that purpose? Because there's no connection between her getting powers and then her now being this person who's willing to do all of that for people. Also, you said she's over 2,000 years old and she only has 200 followers. It's like, Okay, but also, who are her followers? Are they humans? Are they angels? Are they other types of angels? Are they, you know, it's like, there's a lot about this, there's a lot about her, but it's just sort of like, okay, that's neat, but what does any of that mean? How is any of that connected? So, I like her a lot, she's very cute, but as things are, again, work in progress, fair enough, but as things are, I don't really know anything about her. She smells, I know, like, surface level things about her, and, like, her personality is sort of, like, you know, is the sort of like the gentle character trope, but I don't know her likes, I don't know her ambitions, I don't know her dislikes, I don't know her goals in life, I don't know why anything she does, she just does it because. There's no real motivation to any of that. I get that she's over 2,000 years old, but she doesn't feel like a character who's 2,000 years old. It feels like a character who's maybe 200 years old. It feels more like she's just freshly been turned into a seraphim and is now trying to sort things out and trying to find a purpose for herself. And she has these powers for some reason that's not explained. And that she wants to save these stories forever for some reason. She doesn't sound like a character she doesn't sound like a seraphim who's been around for over 2,000 years. She really does sound like a sort of like young, naive character. So I understand that it's a work in progress, and I'm totally chill with that. I think some refinement needs to be, because it sounds like she's a character that started out as a self-insert, has a bunch of different stories that have sort of been merged together from like different fandoms she was in, or different sort of stories she was in the past. And that's then, so something just came of it. Like, I have an archivist character as well, like my mascot Jaggers, he's an archivist as well, but his reason for being is, but like the lore I've given him is I've manifested him in my brain, and he is sorting out my thoughts. So it's like, you know, when you have like the inside voice, Jaggers, like the lore with my persona and Jaggers is that he's my inside voice. Like, it's like, hi, I'm a conscience, we haven't met in a while, sort of like joke. And like, that's the reason why he's an archivist, is because my brain is a mess, I've got too many thoughts, and he literally sorts out my brain. And that's his job, and he's like the angel on my shoulder being like, yo, you maybe want to not torment these characters, your readers are gonna cry. And I'm like, you make an excellent point, that means I need to do it. And he's like, no. So I have a very simple backstory for him, but it's very simple, straightforward, and it like makes sense if you see what I mean. I'm not saying you shouldn't have her be cursed with candy arms, that's fine, you can do whatever you want. But whatever it is you end up doing with the character, it would be neat if, you know, there's an explanation that isn't just, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. It's like, why was she cursed? Why did the gods specifically pity her? And why do they want to push their powers onto others? There's a lot of like these little details that when you introduce a concept, you have to establish, not even for the audience, but for yourself, why these things happen. I understand it's a work in progress, but that's something to consider. That in your work in progress, when you have something happen, it's like, why does that happen? Why does this specifically happen to Peppermint and not literally anybody else? If the other people this happens to, what made them also have these things happen to them? And why is that Peppermint is the one who's an archivist and not others? And, you know, stuff like that. There's a lot of different things that I think you need to consider when writing a character. Because at the moment, it's just a very sort of... There's just not much depth I can really work with, other than, you know, refining the details of the sort of why she does things, so like ambitions and goals. And also, I don't think she needs to be 2,000 years old. I think, but also because of how modern she looks, and because of like the whole candy arm things with Peppermint, I think you can just make her 200 years old, unless she was like turned into a seraphim in modern day, and then this is like 2,000 years into the future, because she just doesn't give an old soul, sort of like an old seraphim sort of vibe at all. So I think there's different ways that you could sort of refine the character, because you could have it that, you know, when she sends a clone to a different universe, time works differently there, because obviously she's sending it to a different universe that could be at any point in time. I don't know, there's a bunch of different ways you can go about it to sort of just tighten the story up a bit, because I think what you have is really nice and really interesting, and I love archivist characters. But I think as it is, it's just a bit... It's just a bit weak, and it would be nice to see you refining it to make it more linear and sort of strong as a character. Because at the moment, there's just not much happening other than, and then this, and then this, and then this, and then this, but we don't actually know anything about what drives her, if that makes sense. But thank you, Peppermint, for submitting your character. Alright, the next character we have is from DreadedDragon. So the OC's name is Light Sapper, actually Fidelis, alright? And the character is forced into the role of monster. Ooh, okay. Interesting, interesting. Let's see. Ooh. Sorry, my first thought was like, edgy. I love it. No, I love that. Okay, we've got black wings, tail, like a dragon type look, ripped outfit, scary face. The face, they are holding their face, so it does give sort of like, ooh, I'm barely holding control sort of vibe. As a character reference sheet, it would be nice to have a clearer look at their face and stuff like that, so that it's a bit easier to sort of know the features of how to draw them. But I do like the details. I do like the colors and the details. It gets the point across as well with all the slashes and clawing at the shirt. It's like, you meant on first insight, it could either be, oh, they've been attacked a lot, but I would have thought it's like, oh, they're clawing at themselves. That would be my first impression. But I do like them. I do like them. I also like the color. They got dark shadows under their eyes, and I do like that. We're starting with gods again. This is I'm seeing a lot of gods in these stories. Was one of the 6 demigods on whom the foundation of their realm's existence lies. The consistent betrayals of his former friends have reduced him to an unliving husk. Their first betrayal accidentally fused him with the All Source, the keystone of all magic in the realm. A human body can't hold that much power, so he was transformed partially into a dragon, the most efficient creatures at storing magic, hence why they tend to have so much. Since he had access to every kind of magic, his scales glowed white. An outcast, he watched from a distance as the others all built their kingdoms and taught their citizens to hate and hunt him, so they might one day reclaim the power he stole from them. Their second betrayal was they succeeded, and they each took a 5th of the All Source along with part of his soul. Stripped of life and magic, his scales became deep. The next character has been submitted by Echo, and their name is Yami Hiyami, and they are from the supporting cast, the best friend of the main character. Alrighty. Oh man, that is hard to look at. Okay. Alright, so at face value, the design is very, very cute. However, between the pick crew, the gacha design, the drawing done by your friend, and the outfit that you've used as reference, there's a lot of inconsistency with like the scar placement, if they have a scar at all, the skin tone as well. So that's gonna be fun for me to try and decipher for the drawing. I would say, okay, at face value, design, absolutely fine. Neat, cool, love it. But very, very cutesy. But I think as a consistency thing, especially without all of this like character sheet, it looks like, is that like a D&D character sheet? That's what, maybe not. No, it's not. It doesn't have any of the classes. the consistency between the different media makes it confusing to know if, like, for example, she has sharp teeth or not, and what eye color, like what color are her eyes and things like that. So I'm sure in my drawing, I'll probably base it mainly on the gacha one, because that seems to be the most sort of the one you would have had most freedom to do stuff with. But I think for future reference, it might be a good idea to sort of, because like also because with the, because like the outfits, for example, in the gacha one versus the outfit you've referenced, are two very different outfits. So I don't know if you didn't have an access to like trousers for in the gacha game, but because I've never played gacha, I've never used gacha, so I don't know. But I think with your design, it's gonna it's like, so people know how to draw her and like what to include or not. I think you're gonna want to get a consistent design, and like maybe if you can commission someone to do a reference sheet for her, or maybe you can get your friend to help you to help you with that, to make a sort of finished full reference, just so that it's people know what the details of her outfit are more accurately. Because at the moment I'm getting lost in like what her sort of like main outfit is versus like, and like her skin tone and her eye color and stuff like that. So that's more of like that's less of a critique of her design actually, because I think she's very, very cute. I like her design a lot, and more so of like the efficiency, more so the efficiency and ease to actually know what she looks like. All right, I'm gonna try and go through this sheet and see what I'm working with. All right, so from left to right, physique, 5'4", 55 kilograms. She's petite and stocky. She has piercings. She's got the scar on her face, scars. Conditions, abnormality, disability. Okay, I don't know what that means. She's super strong. She's got good dexterity, constitution, hygiene. So she's energetic. She's healthy. She's attractive. She's fashionable. Her cosmetics are good. Casual, alternative, bold. She's meticulous. All right, interesting. So her ethnicity is African. Okay. I'm gonna be really pedantic. Where from in Africa specifically? is what I want to know. I can't. So she's 16. All right. She's born the 5th of September. She's female. Got it. Inspirational images. All right. She's ENFP. She's bright, intimidating. She has PTSD. Seems about right for an OC. Alright. Stability good, willpower good, passion good, ambition good, no patience, not at all nervous, playful, curious, decisive, very opinionated, not very materialistic, not pretentious, not a perfectionist, her temper's sky high, not possessive, a little bit jealous, not narcissistic, quite a bit of pride. No self-loathing, decent logical intelligence, bit low on the emotional intelligence, and knows herself pretty well. Okay. She leans more towards instinct than reason, more impulsive than thoughtful, more pessimistic than optimistic, more of an idealist than pragmatic, more confident but timid. So she's typically more stubborn than agreeable, and more aggressive than passive, but it does depend who she's with, okay? She's both domineering and differential. She's both in the middle between controlling and laissez-faire, alright? She's free-spirited, she's sort of grounded, yet a bit fanciful. She's shameless, she's arrogant, she's courageous. She's mostly stoic, and she's in between selfish and selfless, but it depends who she's with. She's messy and she's frugal. Alright, okay. I'm getting a feel for what we're going for. So social standing, she has few friends and she's sort of shunned. She's by herself. When you have so many options open to you, but you're still alone. Bisexual and lonely, got it. She's available for romantic searches. She's available, very alone. Her family is estranged and uninvolved. She's not too likable. Her charisma's a bit low. Her humor's quite good. Her empathy is no. Honesty, meh. Loyalty, pretty good. Generosity, bit low. Libido, no. Angry face. She's fun. She's not too endearing, but she is very competitive and quite a bit aggressive. I wonder why she's single. Morals, belief, no spirituality. She was raised spiritually, but she's an atheist. She's good chaotic. Her morality is grey / nuanced. She's in between saint and sinner. She's in between law-abiding and anarchical. I don't know how to say that. And she's more progressive and conservative. She doesn't believe in higher power, nor supernatural, nor magic, no luck. But she does believe a little bit in fate destiny, a little bit in good and evil, quite a bit in true love, which is unfortunate. You know, it's sad when somebody's a bit of a romantic and they're just alone. That is like so sad. And she does believe in karma, which is interesting. So she is extroverted. She's typically in the middle between kind and callous, or polite and surly, but it depends who she's with. She's more begrudging than forgiving, but it depends who she's with. And she's in between affection and cold, again, depending on who she's with. She's more flirtatious than chaste. She's more of a leader. She's in between shrewd and gullible. She's more forthright than manipulative. She's more violent and in between self-reliant and dependent, but that again depends who she's with. She's very rebellious. She's quite erratic, very ambivalent, high maintenance. Again, I wonder why she's single. It depends if she's a people pleaser, uncompromising. All right. All right. So her priorities are her friend. Her priorities are her family's quite a big priority as well. I'm assuming this is found family, rather than her biological family. Romance isn't a priority. All right, fair enough. Home is a bit of a priority. Health is a huge priority. Praise is a bit of a priority. Pleasure is not at all a priority. Security is a priority. Justice is full on a priority. Truth is a priority. Power is a bit of a priority. Wealth and fame aren't a priority. Reputation is a priority. But customs, tradition, and self-fulfillment aren't too much of a priority. Interesting. All right, so her skills. Perception, pretty good. Instinct, very good. Literacy, knowledge, and creativity are quite low. Mediation is all the way down. Cunning is pretty high. Persuasion is Cooking is also low. Mechanical and technology on the lower end. Combat and endurance on the higher end. Stealth is in the middle. Survival's towards a higher end. And luck, communication, organization, animal handling, and pacifying children are all very low. She's more agile than clumsy, and she's more savvy than naive. Alright, and last section. Creativity, visual art, and writing songs, music, alright. Entertainment, she likes reading, music, and games. Athletics, she likes lifting. Martial arts, and is a gym rat. Outdoors, she likes hiking and camping. Other stuff, she likes traveling, partying, and collecting. Academics and learning, she likes art. Her current occupation is student. And she is in the process of starting a band with friends. Alrighty. Okay. I do like these sort of sheets a lot because they are fun to fill out and they are fun to read. But I feel like sometimes they get a bit too, limiting, if you see what I mean. Like, there's so much you can look into. It's a bit, how to say, it's a bit, I don't know how to explain it. I do think these are good as sort of like a reference for yourself, but I think you should, because obviously it helps you sort of figure out where the character is with their personality and stuff like that. But sometimes it's just like too much on these sort of like sheets. There's too much like random unnecessary stuff on them. I think this one is pretty good, because like it sort of it covers all your bases for like their beliefs and stuff like that. But I think who is this person who made this sheet? Sheet was made by Shy Kustis on Twitter, and I actually really like this one. It's quite good. But I wouldn't say avoid these sort of sheets. I wouldn't say that, but find a good one, because sometimes they get really, really specific, and it's like unnecessarily specific. But this one, let's say, is quite a good sort of basis to get a feel for your own character. But no, it's interesting. I like that you have all of this, but then at the end of the day, her ambitions are quite simple and down to earth. I do like that. It's very cute. She wants to start a band. That's adorable. Are there any? So she's just like a regular. She's like a regular Joe Schmo. Anything else you want to know about your OC hasn't covered? Don't think so. Pretty sure the character sheet covered the most important bits. Well, you haven't given me a backstory. Or anything to work with beyond how she is as a character. She's a supporting cast, so she doesn't need anything complicated. But you mentioned she's estranged from her family. However, family is important to her. So how does that work? Because her only ambition right now is to start a band with her friends, which is very cute. That's a very good sort of story sort of journey, and I do like that. But you know, yes, you have all of this information about her on like a base level, but why does she want to start a band? What role does she play in the band? Why is her family estranged? Why is she a bit shunned? You know, what? Because I get that she's rebellious and stuff like that, but like that's not a good enough reason to just be shunned. So unless it's like her family's very spiritual from the looks of it, she's raised spiritually, but she's like rebelling against her parents' upbringing or her family's upbringing. So it'd be interesting to see why she's rebelling. How her, what if like is were her parents shunning her beforehand or only after she was rebelling? Is wanting to do a band, to make a band part of that rebelling? You mentioned she writes songs and does music, so I'm assuming she would be either the songwriter, maybe the lead guitarist. I don't think you mentioned on the sheet that she was a lead guitarist. Or anything like that. It'd be interesting to know what her specific role for the band is. Also, she's a student, 16. Would that be high school? I don't know the American system very well. So that would be high school. So it's like, okay, so she wants to start a band. Would that be just for high school, or would that be sort of like in the long term? Could that be that she sees her friends as her found family, and they all have different ambitions to like after high school, but they split up the band, and actually she wants them to stick together? You know, there's like these little things like that, which is like, you know, what's her fear? Is like, is she worried that she's gonna get disowned by her family for her different beliefs? Is like, cause like 16 is a rough time. I'll be so honest. Like when I was really salty at 16 years old, because I was getting really sick and tired of people going like, oh, sweet 16, sweet 16. I'm like, salty and sour at best. Like, don't even start with me. I was one of those 16-year-olds. I was like, I hate being a teenager. Everything sucks. I can't do anything yet, and yet I can do too much. So I really struggled when I was 16 with sort of like where I stand on everything. I was being a Mary Contrarian all the time, which I will stand by till the day I die. I will stand by myself as a 16-year-old for being that one who goes, well, actually, I will stand by myself. I don't care if I was annoying or nerdy or edgy. You know what? No, I was in the right for doing that. I will never not do that. So actually, you know what? Yeah, I mean, you go out there and you go be rebellious and start your band. But Yami Hiyami sounds Japanese to me. So is she in Japan, or and you said her ethnicity is African. So I would be interesting to know, like, was she born in a country in Africa and then moved to Japan, or is she not in Japan at all? She's in a different country altogether, like again, like America, the United States, and she has a Japanese parent and an African parent. You know, I'd be interesting to see about, because like there's a lot of stuff going on with her, which is very interesting. But again, there's a lot about her on the surface level, but there's not much about her as a character. You have a bunch of traits, which is great. You have a bunch of like her beliefs, which is great. But you don't have much of like how her relationship with her parents is, where she lives currently, who her friends are. We don't know what the relationships are between them. I don't know that either. Of course, this isn't a story review. It's only an OC review. But it's kind of given me so much with that character sheet, but yet I still have so little to understand how she fits in the story. Because only at the very end was it like, oh, she's a student. She's not in a magical world. She's just like in the regular world. And she wants to start a band. But you haven't even said what part of the band she's a part of. The only thing we know is that she likes to do music and art. And she likes to write the music. But does she sing? Does she play an instrument? Or is she just like a coach or like an agent sort of thing for the band? Is she just the organizer? I don't know, it's like you've given me so much, but yet so little at the same time. I think it's very easy. I've done this my entire life with my characters. It's very easy to give characters, sort of like, I don't want to say superficial. Superficial is the wrong word. It's very easy to give characters sort of like, oh, they are like this. They are, for example, she's rebellious. Cool. Why? Why is she rebellious? Because you're not just born rebellious. There's always a reason to why you're rebellious. Because there's difference between being strong-minded and, let's say, assertive versus being rebellious. Like, that's an actual sort of rebelling against something. And it sounds like she's rebelling against her family who is estranged to her. But does she live with them? Does she live with a friend? You know, it's like, there's all these things where it's like, okay, I'm seeing what sort of character she is, but I don't understand, but I don't know how it applies to your story and like how antagonized she is by all of that, if she cares at all or not. Clearly her family is important to her because family is a priority, but does that mean found family, like her friends, or does that mean her biological family and she sort of wishes they would accept her or not? Like, there's a lot of those sort of little details that I would like to know to understand her more as a character. But as it is, I only have very sort of superficial traits about her that are very interesting and quite solid, so you already sort of know what sort of character she's going to be. But, I'm sort of left wanting more, really. I think if you could have tacked on a little bit of a backstory, it doesn't have to be in depth. It can just be like, you know, oh, she was brought up very religious, but she wanted to express herself more in like middle school, high school, and that started sort of creating tension between her and her parents, who are from this and that country and this and that beliefs. You know, they're estranged, so they don't really interact with her at home. They sort of let her do whatever they want because they're disappointed in her. Or you could even say she was kicked out of the house and now she lives with one of her friends. You know, if you had like a little background like that, just so we know, so that nothing spoils the story, obviously, but just so gives us a bit more depth so that we can actually understand why she's the way it is. It's again one of those things where having a character sheet is great with all of these different traits and details about them is awesome, but I think it's always necessary to have a little bit of a blurb of the character and what they're about, like their background and their ambitions, just so we know why they are that way and how they fit into the story. To give an example, I need to update it because it's really badly done, but my character sheet for Weirdo has a lot of stuff going on. With Weirdo, right, when my character sheet with Weirdo, I do need to redo it because some of the information is incorrect. But like, for example, I have, you know, his age, his birth date, his sexual orientation, whatever. I have his hobbies. I have his nationality. But I have his hobbies, and it says research. His hobby is research. He does weirdo researches on absolutely everything and anything that interests him. Mainly people he wants to kill. He has a lot of files on people. And then he's like, you know, working out as a hobby. Weirdo is really strict on himself to keep fit so that he can complete his mercenary jobs without problem. And snacking as a hobby contradicts the previous point, but due to his abilities explained below, Weirdo needs to snack in order to stay healthy. He likes to try new and weird foods and non-foods. So even though you don't know yet anything about him, you have these hobbies, and I've added a little bit of an explanation as to why he has those hobbies. Also, for example, current location, Medjumasina. This town is of my own creation, and this place would be considered a micronation. I'm still writing up details about this place, so when I finish that, I will link it here. I've made it clear from the get-go that this is a fictional country that doesn't exist, and that it's not finished yet, but just so we know that it's somewhere not real. It doesn't exist. Then I have his appearance, his personality. That's very long. I need to do it. And then like his abilities, his powers. Again, super long. I like to go into detail with this sort of thing, so I love Wikipedia pages, and so that's what I do. And for example, strengths, experienced fighter, knowledgeable in weaponry, fearless, stealth, improvisation, tail. They all have, they're either a paragraph or a few short sentences just to explain what all of that means. And then his backstory is nothing is known of Weirdo's past. He arrived at Medjumasina at age 22, the reason being that he met, so this is again irrelevant, but it's like, I also have the animatics I did, but like, I have an explanation as to why some of the things about him are the way they are. I'm not saying that every single character needs to be like that, because obviously you don't want it to be spoilery, but I would always say that if you can have a spoiler-free blurb for your character, just so that people know how they fit into a story and what they do, that would be really beneficial. Because with Weirdo, for example, you know nothing about him, but I've established that he owns a hotel, that he, you know, does this and that for the community, and that, yeah, he is being a bit of a bastard and is going off and killing people and technically putting his nation in danger by doing those mercenary jobs, and he's being sniffed down on by the only person who suspects him. A lot of people in the police suspect him, but because they like him and he's technically killing bad people, they're like, let him do it. He's not getting caught. And then there's one police lady who's like, no, that's against everything I'm about. And so you have a sort of, and so even though I'm not going into any more of that, because all of the rest of that will be put into the story, you still have a little blurb that makes people go, all right, I see what he's about and what he's getting into and the sort of shenanigans he's putting himself in and how that affects some of the people around him. It just explains where they are in the story without spoiling anything. I hope that makes sense, because I think with all these characters and with this one as well, Yami seems like a really interesting character and I do like her a lot. I think she looks really cool. I think it's really cute. She wants to start a band and I do like her personality, but I just wish I knew how she fits into the story, because she's a supporting cast, sure, but what does she do in a sense? I think there's just a bit more of what she actually does and less of what she's like, if that makes sense. But very well done, Echo, and thank you so much for submitting her. And the final character we have, which will have been all 10 of them submitted, is from Star Public, who I've actually done animatic for before. And the OC is Star, who is the main character. Let's have a look at him. Oh, baby. I'm weak for wolves, to be clear. Any wolf character, I'm absolutely weak for. You think you outgrow wolves are my favorite animal phase of your life? You never do. You never outgrow that. It's always in you. I freaking love wolves and I have a bias towards them, so I will not hide that. Alright, but no, I really like Star's design. I have a question about the purple on Star's wolf form. Is that because on the human form the hair is dyed purple as well, like partially purple, and it's just that's how it translates towards the wolf form? I need to know. I want to know, is that the case? Because if that is the case, or if if purple is part of the natural hair color, if that is the case, if Star was to dye the purple parts any other color, would that also translate onto the wolf fur? I need to know. For aesthetic reasons, I need to know how that works. But no, I think Star's design is really cute. The wolf form is really cool. And that sword looks dope as all heck. I want to know the smiley face on the shoulders and the necklace. The usage. What are they? What do they do? I'm assuming the smiley face shoulder pads are that. They're like an armor. I like that outfit. I like the sort of outfits, like One Piece outfits, looking outfits, the things. I do really like that. I think that's really cute. Star's adorable. Star is an outsider to the world she enters into. Being a werewolf comes with its own risks, as they are feared by most humans. Star herself is very optimistic, a pacifist and caring. She wears her heart on her sleeve and just wants what's best for others. However, she has recently been experiencing the cons that come with that mindset. When she tried to give her trust to someone everyone else hated and feared, she was taken advantage of, hurt, and used. Now, in this new world, she has a chance to start over, so her story is only beginning. Okay, so, alright, so werewolves can transform into a few different forms. They can turn into a mostly human form, ears and tails show, but are still mostly human, into a hybrid form, think classy fairy art, so anthro wolf, and into a full wolf. Werewolves come in 3 different types: alphas, betas, and omegas. Alphas are typically the leaders of the group. They have pointed ears and come with the ability to turn humans into werewolves through one of 2 methods. If they bear fangs and bite you, well, the process will be painful. It is entirely safe. However, if their eyes shift to a blood red color and they lock eyes with you, that is unstable and comes with a chance of death. Betas are more human-like. Their ears are ever so slightly rounded, and they take up the vast majority of werewolves. Omegas are the lower class of werewolves. They are equally as rare as alphas to be born and have entirely rounded ears. They are typically paired with alphas. Those who aren't made up of the lowest class of werewolves. Where alphas and omegas are bred to be born, even more so if both parents are betas. Werewolves are physically stronger and more durable than humans, but are still weak to everything a human is weak to. They can last long in a physical fight, but are not invulnerable. Okay, so Star is an alpha. if I'm understanding that clearly. Star has an ability from the previous world she lived in to understand animals. In this world she is in, it is incredibly rare. Okay. I like her a lot again, but like with everything else, like with every single like with most other characters, I'm just not given much to work with. Because like, okay, so I do like sort of like the optimistic, the sort of like sweet pacifist optimistic character who, you know, wants to give everybody a chance. Is like the good in the world that they want to see, but the world isn't as good as them, so they get used and taken advantage of and hurt, which unfortunately happens. And now she's sort of left. I'm assuming she's sort of left scarred and daunted by that, and daunted to trust people again. What happened to her old world, and how did she get to the new world, and what is she doing there now? Because her story is only beginning, but I'm assuming that if she's in a new world at the moment, she's just exploring, like trying to find a place there, trying to find friends maybe? Or is she actually like, okay, I'm just gonna live alone in the woods and just mind my business? like what is she doing now that she's in a new world? What's her ambitions? I also don't know much about, like, we have her personality, which is neat, and I know a very little bit of her from, I'm assuming, the old world. But in this new world, does nobody know her, and nobody has any recollection of this previous world, and this new world is like a collection from different characters from a bunch of different worlds. Again, it's sort of hinted at a couple things, but I'm sort of left with like, okay, she exists. Now what? Does she miss her old world at all, or is she kind of happy that she gets to have a fresh start? Is she a bit lonely being a werewolf, or does she have other friends who understand or also sort of like shapeshifters? Again, I just have a lot of questions, because I think she looks really cool and her character has a lot of potential. And can have a sort of very tragic sort of like, both a healing, sort of like, a fear of being hurt again, but also like if she meets the right people, sort of a healing journey of all of that. But I don't have any story to work with her. I don't know what she's doing or why she's doing it. And I guess that she's going to be a bit of fish out of water in her new world. So it's going to be a lot of learning where she is, where she lives now, and what she's doing, which is going to be interesting. And being a wolf, well, being a werewolf, would that make her a pack animal? Would she have that instinct, or would she rather be a lone wolf? That's the thing, right? Because like the alpha, beta, omega sort of system in wolves, at least the one I know, it's like who gets to eat first, who's the one that does the hunting, who picks out the animal, there's stuff like that, right? And like who looks after the babies and all of that. So would she have that natural instinct to be a pack animal, or would she have the human sort of, well, humans are social animals, I don't want to say pack animals, but I know, is that instinct strong in her, so she's actually looking for a new pack of friends? Or is she actually like, no, that didn't work with me last time, I'm gonna just stay alone? And is she going to have to struggle with that want to be with others? So there's just little things like that which I'm interested in, because there's a lot implied, but there's not much said, which I'm assuming is going to be explored more into this new world, into this new story. But I would have just liked to know more about what she used to be like, and now that she's no longer like that because of the pain she went through, what she's going to be like in the new world. And again, it's like, if you could have a spoiler-free blurb of the character, so we know what she's sort of doing, why she's doing, what her occupation is, or what her experience is with her occupation. Because I don't even know how old she is. For all I know, she could be 12. I mean, she's not, but she doesn't look it, but she could be 12 for all I know. Or she could be 30, or she could be in the hundreds, again, werewolf, who knows. So there's just a lot. There's stuff to work with here, but there's not much detail of like her development from her previous world and how that's going to affect her in her new world. So is she seeing this chance to start over as a chance to be like, I'm going to return to how I was before and try my best to not do what happened last time, but still have that kindness and patience and optimism? Or she's like, screw it, I'm not going to trust anybody ever again? That's what I would want to know. Like, what is her development here, if at all any? I like her a lot, though. I freaking love werewolves, so I am biased in that aspect. And I love wolves. adore wolves. And I want to know more of how much that affects her mentality, I guess, of how she deals with the world. So it'd be interesting to know more about these things. I'm always assuming with these stories about those, with all these characters, I'm assuming you guys have all of this written somewhere, but you didn't want to include it here because you were worried about spoilering or being it too long or something like that. I would always say if that's something you're worried about, a middle ground, especially if somebody's like, oh, what's your character about? Having a short, spoiler-free blurb to just get them interested in that sort of covers all your bases would be really, really useful. Also, maybe my Google Doc just wasn't done well enough, and I probably should have reorganized it. I don't know. But, no, I like Sarah a lot. I think she's cool. I think she has, I hope she can have a better experience in this new story that she's starting. Thank you for submitting her. And that was 10 beautiful characters we just went through. Thank you everybody who submitted their babies for me to look at. I know how important OCs can be to people when you've worked hard on them. So I hope this video has left you feeling better and not better rather than really disappointed, and you're not too discouraged. And my apologies if I did bring anybody's moods down. That was not my intention. I hope you also like the art of the characters that I did throughout the video. Apologies again if anything is inaccurate. I was just basing it on what my short-sighted eyes can see from your character sheets. Again, this video isn't meant to be like critique of anybody's characters to like make them feel bad about it. I would always want every character to be the best they can be. Not in the sense of like good people, but in the sense of like the best interesting character that plays the role in the story, the best that they can be in that aspect. So I hope that my feedback, I guess, is useful in that aspect, that you don't take it like as an insult of I don't like the character. I think all of them were really good. I wasn't given enough information to really be able to know what they're about sometimes, which again, I think that just comes with practice. I'm not saying I'm good at it. I love to yap about my characters, and I've had a lot of them for so long. I've had to refine them so I can explain it to people without going on like a 3-hour lecture about a single character. And I've also gone to university specifically for cartoon and comic arts. I remember like what feedback sessions were for me at university and all that. And I now teach, so it's I have all of that insight, I guess. So I'm looking at it on like how to improve the character. Like what you have is already good, but how can you make it even better and sort of really strengthen this character so you've covered all your bases? That's the way I'm looking at it, not necessarily like looking for flaws about the character, if you know what I mean. Because at the end of the day, what you want to do with your character is your business. If you heard me asking all these questions or making any points and you're like, no, that's stupid, 100%, tell me to fuck off, you know? Tell me to get screwed. Like, that's fine. All right, cool. You know what's best for your character, I guess. This is my insight because you submitted the characters willingly. So I tried my best. I would like to do something like this again. Maybe not just for like non-fandom OCs, but also fandom characters, or at least ones I'm familiar with, like My Hero Academia, Bleach, Has-Been Hotel, and others. I'm a very picky enjoyer of characters. I weirdly enough, even though I have so many fan characters of my own, I don't enjoy other fan characters because I always have something to nitpick. I'm a big nitpicker with fandom characters, more so than original characters. So that would be, I think I'd be harsh on those, not necessarily because they're bad, but because I'm like, actually, you can't do that because in the world of blah, 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 because I am one of those people. No, but at the end of the day, this is all just for good fun. And you know, not everybody's OCs are going to become a professional story. Sometimes you just have a goofy little character just for fun, like I do with my dude Jaggers. He's just there just for fun. He's my little mascot man. He doesn't have much lore going on, but what he does have, I think, is quite fun and silly, and it makes for some good interactions. But I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it was fun. I hope you enjoyed the art. I hope my voice wasn't too annoying to listen to, and that I have offered something in return. Thank you again, everybody, for submitting your characters. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.